Alright everyone, welcome. We are ready to hop on into the first matchup here that we're going to have on the B stream, and it is FaZe versus OG. Unfortunately, the match is actually already kicking off. I got us in a little bit late, so we do just have to immediately focus on the action that is going down. You can see the plan for OG was, of course, just a pretty standard A split, only having one player over towards long, so he actually does go down straight away without really being able to do too much. But they are still finding success here on short. Overall, I mean, the trades haven't actually gone in favor of FaZe, but they should at least be able to get that bomb plant and have the opportunity to try and get some good control back towards short. The issue is already FaZe, they're pushing up close. They're not letting OG really get themselves into any sort of strong positions for the after plant, and they just clean it up. I didn't even get to mention, of course, that I am Dean, and by my side is going to be Mitch for these matchups.
Well, Dean, I mean, not by your side. We're
not exactly. Yeah,
houses.
Social distancing.
Social distance is important here, Dean, but I would love to be by your side, stroking your beautiful beard, but unfortunately, we'll have to wait until this is all over to do that again. For FaZe, whoa, don't let the secret out. For FaZe, they're 1-0 up. Good start. The pistol round, I mean, it didn't pan out fantastically at the start, but a great retake, not allowing the positional advantage of OG to go all too well in their favor. And now they've got a beautiful buy. I like the 3 FAMAS. This is really solid. It's a fine line now. A nice compromise, I guess, between what some teams do, which is like the 4 SMG buy, and what others do, which is just go fully into all the rifles they can and end up getting destroyed out in their economy. The FAMAS works perfectly. It's got its nice bit of damage. Obviously, you've got range with it. Plus, you're able to get some utility, making this much less like a risky round and giving you a lot more favor to play with. That nade's going to be so good. Not as good as it could have been.
Yeah, no, not ideal. This round is certainly winnable right now for OG. The issue is coldzera on the bomb site actually does manage to get 2 for himself before eventually going down. There's still some smokes, fortunately for OG as well, to allow them to cross over. But they have taken some pretty serious damage, so I mean, the retake definitely doable for FaZe. They don't have a lot of utility, just 1 smoke and 2 flashes. But if they use them correctly, then they definitely can move in and try and sweep up. But for the moment, time beginning to just slowly tick down. Another smoke actually being retrieved there for Issa. So again, the door going to be kind of held off at this point. They might have to just try and go through that smoke as they push through the window as well. And indeed, they do need to get moving forward. That's all of the nades being used. Now the final flash being thrown in. Valde, he's just waiting under that window. Actually only gets himself 1, but unfortunately with a scout, not much else that Nico can do once he drops down into that corner. Pretty much pinned in. Mantu comes in with the peek, and OG, they managed to steal away that force buy.
They're really nicely formatted. The push into B. They avoid the nades quite luckily, so having a lot of health as they push on forward. And the flash that came over decimated the player on the bomb side, allowing them to isolate the close car, take him down, and only after they'd found that kill did the flash finally fade to the player on site. So FaZe weren't really able to do anything about that. And then playing retake on B, I mean, let me tell you, it never goes too well, especially not when you got a scout going in for that. OG now with the economic advantage. They are up against Eagles, but FaZe have invested a lot into this round, eating their economy away into what will be an eco in the next round should they lose. But the key thing here is that, obviously with it not being the pistol round, they only got their 1400, so they're really not looking that healthy when it comes to the weapons. That said, Valde in there with a double opening completely shut down any chance of that long hold going well. I mean, they had a good crossfire. That could have been dangerous, but Valde, he didn't care.
Yeah, I mean, one positive right now, at least for FaZe, is that they've gotten 1 player pushed in through mid. They've got that kind of wrap up onto short to realize that no one is in this area at the moment, so they should know that it is just that long control. There also is the possibility, of course, that OG could go back through T-spawn, so they still need to be a little bit cautious of that. But they are leaving Nico around mid so that hopefully he can spot anyone going back through the spawn. So for the moment, they do have a very good idea about what's actually going on. OG just kind of taking their time at this point, knowing they're favored in terms of the weapons, especially up against a couple players who don't have Kevlar with these rifles themselves at long range especially. They will be looking pretty good for these fights. But Cold on the bomb site, he has that Galil. Smokes do go down at this point. Of course, the commitment is going to have to come in. They will eventually begin to cross. It's 2 on the bomb site, and then Brokey down behind that smoke, who's probably just going to try and push out once his teammates find contact, maybe try and catch one. I don't know how much he's actually going to be able to do to help them out, so it is going to have to be these players on the bomb site finding success, and so far that's just not the case. That final player in towards Gandalf being Nico hasn't been spotted yet somehow. The head was shown slightly over the box, but it was a tight angle for Mantu to see. Eventually does get himself that kill though. OG, they're able to come out on top of their kind of anti-eco right there. I mean, there was a small bit of investment for FaZe Clan, but most of the players didn't really buy up too much.
Now with OG up 2-1, this will be an eco for FaZe, and now is a good time, I suppose, to look at the maps that we've got coming through. So obviously we're starting here on Dust2, the pick of OG, a map where they're much more comfortable then where we'll be heading next, where it's going to be Nuke up against FaZe. That is a very, very hard map to win. I think going into this series, we were both talking beforehand, and it should be a pretty clean second map, at least, for FaZe, giving OG a little bit of weight. They have to do well here on Dust2. If they lose this, they pretty much lose the game.
Ooh. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. The way the veto's gone down, I don't think it's really looking too great for OG. This is definitely a necessity for them to pick up. That wasn't looking too bad initially when Brokey did get himself that one kill, but I don't think it's really too big of a deal here for OG having lost the one player. I mean, considering FaZe didn't invest anything into that round, they can be happy. Okay, we got one kill at least. Now we're coming onto the guns. But overall, it's not a substantial amount of damage. It was Mantu who did go down, so he may just reinvest right onto the op here if he wants to do so. Of course, we do see Nico has one in play, so he is going to go ahead and pull that out. And this is a B spawn if I've ever seen one. I doubt they're just going to straight up brush B with it, though. You can see already a couple players looking around mid there. The op going to see what he can spot on that cross. But at least early on, it doesn't look like anything too crazy is going to be done. That smoke over towards the long corner, flash as well to follow it up, try and force a couple of these players who are up close on long to maybe shy away and just give up that control. But not the case. They put down a smoke and a molly, make sure no one's taking this control early on. And with that FaZe, they have themselves a decent setup early on. They actually have one player pushed up on short as well. That's kind of surprising. Normally you'll see a team take one of the areas, maybe give up the other one. But when it is the op of Nico, of course, it's a decent weapon to go aggressive with on your own. Try and catch that one kill, then fall back away. Or if a load of nades come in, of course, at that point, you also kind of have to give up on your dreams of finding that early kill.
The thing that scared me was Nico up so aggressively with nobody on the bomb site. So it's not like he could get a support flash or anything to come through. Not that there's that much utility anyways. But he would be in a lot of danger. If they started to push him aggressively, Rain's the only player here with a flash. He's all the way down on long. He's tucked up just outside the pit. There's no way he could help, and Nico would then be in a lot of trouble. But luckily, he backs off. The utility is pushing him slowly backwards. He hasn't got an angle on them as they cross over either. And OG are doing a great job of completely blocking off this op from finding anything. Nico gets a shot off, but not connecting it. And now they've got the bomb site without even seeing an opponent. Pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, not the most common of scenarios. Nades-wise, there's really not that much for FaZe to work with here. They have 2 flashes on a smoke, 1 kit down on Olaf, so this is going to be tough, especially with this short control over in favor of OG right now. Obviously, a positive being FaZe do still have that long control with quite a few players to move forward, and yeah, right now OG trying to stick around and actually take these fights. Not a single one having gone in their favor up until Mantu is able to pick one off, but even then, he's not able to get anything else done. Nico finds that final player trying to come in over towards long, and it is a clean round there from FaZe, keeping 4 players alive. That's what they need, is they're trying to build up some momentum here early on, even getting themselves the second op actually.
Yeah, for free as well. Nice little upgrade. You got a Krieg in play as well. I mean, things are looking pretty decent for FaZe. The thing that distresses me a little bit is that OG had very good early round. They get to the bomb site. They're losing nothing. Positional advantage, time on their side. They have short control. Everything was going perfectly for them. And it's just in these heads-up aim duels that they're losing. And if you're not connecting heads-up aim duels on Dust2, it's not a very pretty picture to paint. That said, 3 rounds on the board is good for them, but coldzera through with the opening duel on that AWP, now bringing it over to the B bomb site, where he's about to face a little bit of pressure. Alongside his teammate Brokey, they're both holding down as OG fully stack up in the tunnels and look to move forward. The nades going through, though, light up both NBK and Issa. The point that they're in a bit of trouble as they move forward. The M4 would shred them.
Ooh, great timing on that flash as well. That's actually the bomb that ends up getting dropped now out in the open, so they at least have to try and recover that. They can't really afford to just immediately fall back away. They end up losing a second player there to the op of coldzera as well, and they haven't really gained any ground on recovering that bomb as of yet. Smoke goes down. I think that should be deep enough so that the smoke's out in front of it. Fortunately, OG have a smoke of their own, so I mean, with that now, they should have a chance of trying to actually get that bomb back, give themselves some openings. The only issue is, with all of their players having been focused in the tunnels for so long, it's given so much room for FaZe to work with. You see, Olaf is pushed all the way around into the spawn right now, and then you have one player watching those mid doors, so with that, they can afford to stack 3 players on B, because no matter where OG go, they're at least going to be able to get the info of where they're moving to.
In through a smoke into 3 players, never really how you want to be taking the B bomb site. It's about to fade, and there's coldzera's opportunity with the AWP. He pops up. Oh, but he doesn't hit the shot. Now things get a little bit dangerous. He's stuck behind the box, doesn't want to go for the peek, knows the op is around there, but as they leave Mantu all alone, the flank comes through, and Olaf Meister not even the one to finish it off. It was Cold popping up and taking a bit of a risky peek into the op holding him, but hey, it worked out. 3-3. Now OG on the other end of the spectrum. They're the ones that don't have the cash to play around. And this should be an eco coming through from them. Unless they decide, I mean, Issa and Valda could drop over some pistols at least. Make this semi-decent, little bit of utility. Decisions being made late.
Yeah, I mean, they've got 2,400 loss bonus, so they can afford a little bit. They have that 1 AK on Issa, a bit of a hero rifle coming in. As I said, 2,400 though, so it won't actually deny him from being able to get a buy in this next round. But look at that. I'm guessing that's what your O is about. I didn't look at the radar while I was speaking for some reason. Ryan tried to push up mid. He ends up going down without dishing out any damage at all, and that's actually given OG a second rifle now to prop up this kind of half buy, I guess, that they've gone for.
How do we excuse this, Dean? Like, did they not know the buy they're up against? It's the only thing I can think of that.
I mean, it should have been
really makes sense.
Maybe Ryan, I don't know, maybe he's just feeling confident, wanted to try and see if he could find out what was going early on. Maybe just expected mostly Glocks or whatever, but I mean, even the Deagle it was that just got that kill right there.
That's the thing, though. Even if it is Glocks or a couple P250s thrown in there, you don't want to be pushing top mid straight into them. I mean, one guy watching their back, and all of a sudden, there's a swarm of Ts all over you. Man disadvantage. They can't hold middle. They can't contest it at all. And so OG are able to make it up here. Now, this is where we can see if they had utility, they could actually win this round. They don't have, well, at least they'd have a much better chance of it. But now they're going to have to raw push out there. No flashes, right into the Krieg, through a smoke. And that's not going too well for them. 1 kill extra found, but it's all on Mantu now. And I feel like if you're going for the hero rifle, then your teammates like Valda's got 4.9k. He could buy even a flash, a smoke. Some of the teammates as well that went in for Deagles get the utilities to support, try to entry through. But hey, they at least got 2 kills, which is decent enough to eat away at the CT economy. And by all means, that round went better than it should have. Yeah,
I mean, for sure, some good damage at least being put onto the economy of FaZe Clan. You can see there's still 3 players who really don't have the economy to allow for a round to be lost, really. It'd only be Coldzera and Nico who could rebuy. So FaZe still in a spot here where they do need to keep picking up a couple rounds in a row, try and make them a bit cleaner, really, if they actually want to start getting some financial security over on the CT side. For now, though, OG back on their buy, and it is actually some early aggression over towards short. The majority of the OG players down and lower, you can see them immediately trying to actually follow up over towards short, see if they can get that trade. They do end up losing one player in towards the mid doors, unfortunately. It's actually Olaf now who's pushed back up on short to try and see what he can find. The smoke's down, though, so I think it's more about him just limiting this control. They don't want to give everything over to OG so early in the round.
Again, OG going out through B, through the tunnels they go, but right into a player up close. Brokey's got the chance to make this work. Flash is going up behind him as well. He snuck in the back through the smoke, and good night and sweet dreams to OG's round. 3 kills for Brokey. He's even looking for the 4th. The molly in deep, so the push can't come through. They know they've got the bomb on lockdown. And this round fell apart very quickly. What a play from Brokey to stay up close and just sneak right past them around that smoke into the corner. And then he isolated the fights one at a time as well. Also has to be commended his teammates coming through. I think that was MBK who was running up and popping flashes over. If that wasn't happening, if you didn't have... Or sorry, I'm saying MBK. I think it was Olaf? Was it 4 on the radar? I can't remember. That was lobbing up flashes. I'm losing myself completely here, Dean.
I'm not sure. I was focused on the observing.
I think if the flash didn't come through, Brokey wouldn't have had the cover to move through that smoke quite as efficiently. Wouldn't have been able to get up behind them. So, great reactions by the FaZe Clan. They definitely earned that round.
Yeah, no, I believe a flash did go over while he was just sitting up in the smoke. I think he probably would have got through behind them either way, but it definitely helped out a little bit, because I presume with that flash at that point they were like, okay, they must be outside the window, they're going to try and peek in with it or whatever, but no, it was just Brokey chilling in the smoke, came up behind them and just got a massive 3k. So yeah, OG, I mean, they're down on pistols. We said FaZe needed to start building up some money, and this is definitely a round where they have the opportunity to do so. Ideally, wanting to keep at least 4 of these players alive, I would say. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the happiest of rounds for them, but so far doing a pretty good job. I mean, this player in the pitch was crossfire, and the smoke going down, making it a little bit harder. It did force Rain forward into actually taking that fight there so he could help him out, but still manages to stay alive. In the end, it is one casualty that comes in back towards the bomb site itself, but Issa's all alone. He's already been flanked out from short, and I think Coldzera immediately spotted the head. Yeah, it took a moment, but doesn't cost him anything, fortunately. So 4 players survived for FaZe there. It was only really Deagles being upgraded for OG, so kind of goes as you would expect. But now they're back on the full buy. This is where they need to start getting something going, because as you had said, this map is very important for OG in this matchup.
Oh, 100%. I mean, look, if you take a look at Nuke, you might say off the bat, well, look at OG's win percentage. They're terrible at the map. They're never getting stomped out on it, really. Like, most of their losses are 16-14s. They definitely know how to play Nuke. No secret about it. But I think FaZe are going to demolish them on it. And for the simple reason, I might eat those words later on. The simple reason that OG plays such a slow, strategic style on Nuke that FaZe, and run down the clock consistently, FaZe with it being their most comfortable map, or one of their most at least, I think they're going to get a read on how OG are playing. Their aggression is going to catch them off guard. The timings, I highly doubt the combination of Nico and Yanko on that map strategically will be overwhelmed by OG and their slower, more micromanaging Alexi B style. Well, we'll see how it musters and faces off. I'm not saying OG don't have a chance, but playstyle-wise, I think OG take that, or FaZe take that win. Rain's got a molly there on short, bails off, just needs to lob it, slow them down. He does it. It was a little bit late, though. They probably could have managed to push on past it, but they're setting up for utility first, so they don't mind waiting an extra couple seconds.
Oh, yeah, there's a player pushed a plus on the long doors here. That could be an issue. I was going to say it could have caught Valdo off guard, but fortunately, it looks like he will make it to his teammates at least. So, yeah, that was another reason really they didn't want to commit. They're already down by a man. You don't want to be going when Valdo's not really in any sort of position to help you out. So they will eventually get going forward. But as you said, it's the nades going down. I believe there is a smoke down to the CT spawn as well, so they likely will try and drop it to see if they can kind of come up through the spawn itself. But no, okay, trying to go around the smoke initially. Rain just gets aggressive, catches two of them. Manthu trying to see if he can follow this up and get the trade frag, but that's not going to be successful. And Nico, in the meantime, helping out, taking down Alexi B, who was the only man who actually successfully made it through the smoke towards the CT spawn. And with that, we do see a pause being called in for OG, which is to be expected because, I mean, they've lost 6 rounds in a row now at this point. It's beginning to get a little bit out of hand. The money isn't insane for FaZe, but it's in a pretty comfortable position at this point as well.
I mean, I'll tell you 100%, Alexi B's having a chat about how that round just went. A big problem for them. They were really focused on a player being a car. They had a smoke down CT and for cross on the elevator. Then moving over to the car, there was a smoke down as well. So Nico had very few angles that he could play with the AWP. They were basically guaranteed making it over towards the A bomb site, maybe losing one player as they went. However, they focused up on throwing flashes. I think there was miscommunication on who. I know I've heard Alexi B likes to tell which player is going to throw which nade. Like, he's very into that micromanaging style. And maybe a little bit of miscommunication because 2 players flashed the same angle at once. Nobody was looking for the push, and that just gave the player on the bomb site so much time to swing around there and spray them on down as, yeah, everyone's looking at the same angle, never really what you want when you're pushing forward. So with that, hopefully they've ironed it out for the next time they move towards A. And now looking at the B bomb site early on, it has been one of the more successful rounds or bomb sites to hit it again and again. However, they did get shredded by Brokey the previous time. Now moving in here, Coldzera hasn't got the AWP this time either. And to be honest, that kind of hampers OG a little bit. Because as they set up here with so many flashes, they'll look to push forward. And the sprays that can now come down from Cold are much more threatening than if he had the AWP. We've already seen him take one. And the whole team's here to help out already. That round was doomed from the start, pretty much.
I'm a terrible observer, apologies. But, yeah, no, not going well. I mean, Coldzera started firing off. Maybe they showed up on the map or he just kind of got the timing right there. Perhaps the player who was up close was able to actually hear some steps being made. But either way, he started spraying off, got himself 1 kill before they even seen anyone. Also done some damage onto another couple of players and just made it pretty easy then for it to be cleaned up. So 8-3, FaZe already in a position where they've at least confirmed a little bit of a lead at the halftime. Obviously, you can still be recovered here if OG bring it back to 7 rounds. Even if they bring it back to 6, they're still in a pretty decent position. But they really need to start picking up some of those rounds soon. Otherwise, it is going to get very, very difficult with the economy, as we said, for FaZe. But look at this. Coldzera was able to make his way out through the mid doors early on. Apparently wasn't spotted by anyone because NBK was not expecting them to be in the lower tunnels already. That just gives so much control now to FaZe. They've given up the long control, so it's very handy that actually Cold has been able to get this over towards tunnels because now they have a 4-man A stack.
Well, with the fact that Cold was down there earlier, I'm surprised we haven't seen pedal to the metal and a faster push from OG. Slowing it down in this position means they know they've given up map control, and it's quite likely Cold continued to push at least through tunnels back to B, giving them a little bit of comfort and probably getting a rotate. I mean, best case scenario for OG right now, there's a player in CT instead of 4 towards the actual A bomb site. But where they're at, if they just sped up as soon as Cold pushed under, they get in here with just 3 on the bomb site. Small advantage, I guess. Smokes on the cross. Rain's happy to spam on through. There's still a player up on the ball as Olaf looks to take them from above. He's going to catch 1-2 on the spray, and that should pretty much be the end of this round unless Mantu has managed to figure out how to get this up to be fully automatic.
Yeah, I don't think that's legal in the tournament rules.
Hey, you never know.
It's not getting much better for OG here. It's really not. They're just getting wiped up. We were hoping maybe it'd be a little bit closer after those initial rounds. I mean, they got the 3-1 lead at first, had a couple of convincing anti-ecos, then just since then have been getting stomped out. I mean, yeah, the best they've done was towards the kind of first 4 rounds that they lost when they were able to make them relatively competitive, getting a couple of kills in each of them at least. But since then, it's been 4 alive, and in 3 rounds in a row with all 5 surviving here for FaZe. This has just been extremely dominant, and again, looking for some early picks, fighting up mid, not able to actually connect the shot right there. Again, though, maybe given some more opportunities. Colds are in the exact same spot as the previous round as well. He does try and check it, but not going to be any success found. Falls to the exact same thing as NBK did in the beginning of that previous round. So yeah, this is not looking too good. OG don't even have a full buy, of course.
It's not a round we expect OG to perform in, so you can give them at least a little bit of slack there. Colds again pushed under. Surely that's not going to continue. The nade luckily bounced just right to not take down Alexi, but sadly the Kree came through right after to finish them off. Double digits for FaZe, not even finishing out the first half. This has been a phenomenal start for them, and again, considering this is OG's map pick, this is not how you wanted things to start off. I really expected OG to do better here, although there's still time for the turnaround. Don't get me wrong on that. But Nuke is a huge concern for me. As I said, stylistically, when I look at FaZe versus OG, you can look at how good the maps are for them. You can look at how close they are in the world rankings. It doesn't really matter to me. I think FaZe perfectly counter OG's slow style because they've got calculated aggression, and they're a really damn hard team to predict, especially when it comes to Nuke. Their T side is so hard to read, and OG are going to struggle like crazy, I would imagine, especially considering how this one started out. FaZe have opted to play one player in towards the B bomb site. Now, not getting in through middle again, with Cold's Era not in lower tunnels, this is very risky. If OG come towards B, as they've done many times with just fast blitzes through those smokes, although Brokey's got a Krieg, he would be in a lot of trouble. Luckily, they've decided they don't want to go here, at least not just yet. But if they do decide on the A bomb site, they've got no long control. And coming in through short, they'll have to face off against a very aggressive boost that's gone up there, where Nico has got a perfect angle to take a shot, and Rain has stood there with a molly to stop them from rushing him down afterwards.
Yeah, they actually decided to stay up there when the flash came in as well initially. Just kind of turned away from it. Eventually, though, they have to put that molly down. They don't really want to risk getting caught in the open. If they were caught in that boost and both went down at that point, they do immediately lose the round. So it's certainly a risky play. For the moment, though, it does still seem like this commitment will come towards the A-bomb side. 4 players on short again, being kind of held off by a smoke that's down, a Molotov as well that was thrown behind it. A position also that we have seen Rain find success from before. 3 players, or rather 4 players moving forward in the beginning. Rain only able to get 1 this time around, so definitely a little bit more successful on the trade, but they still have to deal with this op that is holding the cross. So Nico, let's see what he can find. Actually, doesn't connect on the first attempt. At this point, kind of has to just fade back away and set them up for the retake, most likely. Doesn't want to continue to fight, because if he goes down, then they're stuck in a 3-on-4 retake.
The bomb planted at least, but losing a couple players as they do. A 4v3. Nico worried about a flank coming through, but that's not what you need to worry about just yet. OG have got full control on short. That's where they're locked down with 3 players. The bomb's planted for them as well, and time's ticking away. FaZe much slower going in for this, and probably because they've got literally no utility to play around with. As they move forward, Brokey, oh, he spots the head of Issa, and that's a free kill for him. Mantu out with the trade, though. In comes Nico eventually, but he's not even needed. Olaf with a quick headshot to Mantu, swings for the bomb. They've spotted out Valda, and good luck stopping them now, because he can safely defuse that behind the box, and Valda just runs away, accepts defeat, and lives to fight another day. I'm not mad about this. Obviously, he's got money to drop over, get extra utility in on one of his teammates, or even give an AWP. But 11 rounds for FaZe. Man, oh man, this is not looking good. And we've got a technical pause coming through from FaZe, I see. And Nico says Yanko has crashed, so they should just be back in a couple of seconds.
Ah yeah, that shouldn't take too long then. Just have to rejoin up the server. Was wondering, hoping it wasn't any sort of internet issue, because those can take a little while to be resolved. But 11-3, I mean, it's just not what I was expecting. I was thinking maybe FaZe could have a dominant win here on Dust2, or in the best of three in general, but I was expecting, especially here on Dust2, that OG would put up a very close match at very least. So far, it was just those 3 rounds we've seen them get off the back of winning the force fly after dropping the pistol, and since then, they've not really been doing much at all. That previous round was the closest one they've had in quite a while, actually been able to get 2 kills. Before that, 4 rounds in a row, everyone survived for FaZe. So here we go. I mean, this final round and a half is a necessity for OG if they want any sort of a chance to actually try and recover this once they swap over to their CT side. Because as you said, FaZe, with how aggressive they are, it's certainly going to be difficult, especially with the confidence now that they have going, once they do swap over to this D side, for OG to try and actually stop that aggression.
Things certainly haven't been easy for OG, and at the moment, they're not setting up like we've seen them before. This is presumably going to be a late B, but having very little control of a map where we know they're against a team that like to consistently push down parts of the map. Obviously hoping it's going to be in towards tunnels or mid. They're trying to bait them out with utility being used up, but nothing's coming through just yet. Bombs thrown across, so perhaps indication that they're going to take short again. Their smokes are low, though. They've only got 1 left on Mansu as they look to make a push happen, and it goes in through CT. The fade through by Nico. He wants to get aggressive with the AWP. That's dangerous. He gets 1, and somehow he's out of there. He's still alive, ready to pop a flash through. How's he gotten away with that?
Yeah, I don't know. He's even thrown in that flash for Brokey. He finds himself a double, gets help from coldzera. NBK left alone trying to come out of the tunnels. Gets instantly headshotted as well by that Krieg. 12-3. I mean, there was a chance there. Nico, I don't know how he lived, honestly. He was getting spammed down in the smoke. He jumped, so then when he was getting shot as well, he was just kind of getting slowed down and stuck in the air. Took a while even to throw his flash, because I think initially he was kind of right-clicking it, but decided then he'd throw it deeper to help out Brokey instead. I just don't know how he lived there. That should have been, at the very least, a trade.
I think what actually saved his life was he got stuck on the box as he went to move back, so he was running into a wall, whereas they obviously thought that he was deeper in the smoke, so they were spamming behind him. Well, he was just stood there like, oh, okay, I'll take 20 damage, no problem. It's very lucky for him to still be alive in that situation. And the flash is going through, man. That was a disgusting round to watch. I feel bad for OG with the way that one went down. And Brokey, he's been an animal all game long. That hold over towards the B bomb site, we've seen him get challenged again and again, and no problems for him. Even so confident, as I said, to play within the first 5 to 10 seconds of the round. He was over on the B bomb side by himself, and the closest player to him was in the CT spawn. Now, mid-side of it, but still, that's quite a difficult position to play from if you get rushed down. Even though, yeah, your teammate could throw some support flashes, that's not going to help if you're full blind and they just come out of tunnels spraying at you. The smoke that was thrown as well was even shallow for tunnels. I think the T's might have thrown one in. So it was all the way out on the B bomb site, essentially. So his first indication that they were coming there would have been them being on the site. But luckily, OG were pretty much, they ruled out the B pushes, because from the point that we saw them play, I think the 3 B pushes in a row that they had, and they got sprayed down. As soon as coldzera dropped using that AWP, they were pretty much giving up on that notion. And again, it comes back to a point I was making earlier about FaZe being so difficult to predict, because when they early pushed B those 2 or 3 times in a row, they were running into both Brokey and coldzera with rifles. They decided, okay, if they've got 2 players B, maybe we try to go for mid control or just pushing in through short, knowing there'll be at least 1 long, and that gives us an advantage. But oh, lo and behold, FaZe had changed their strategy again, had a single B player and a 4-man stack on A.
Yeah, I mean, that was just kind of the case the whole game with the slow style that OG were playing, as you said, giving up map control at a lot of points. FaZe were making the correct decisions about where they wanted to get aggressive a lot of the time, and also making the correct decision of whether they wanted to follow that aggression up or if they just wanted to use it to keep the info, to keep the map kind of locked down at that point, as we see in that time that we had Olaf, I think, in the spawn, then they just had the 1 player posted up with the op around mid for the 3-man B stack as well. So it just kind of that entire CT side was FaZe having the read on OG and just always being ready for what they were going to throw at them.
And this is FaZe very much fighting to stay alive, right? It's their last game of the season. They're not going to make it through the playoffs at the moment, but if they win this, they'll go tied up against G2 or Mouse, and they just need one of them to lose a game, and they'll be straight tied on wins and losses. So they're it's a very important game for them. Obviously, OG are fairly comfy with where they're at.
Yeah, you can see we are finally ready to get back into this now. The pistol round popping off here on the second half. We did see FaZe pick up the pistol in that first half, but it was really OG that got the 3 rounds then off the back of winning the force buy for themselves. So, I mean, even with that, it wasn't enough for OG to give us even a decent half, so they definitely need the second pistol round, and maybe then we can start believing that it is a possibility. But let's see. FaZe taking a few players down through the lower tunnels right now, a couple up towards the top of mid as well. So it does seem like they are going to try and focus over towards short for the moment. Could have tried to poke a bit around mid, but it does seem like short is probably going to be the correct decision, because for the moment it's just Mantu back towards the car. There's one player pushed up into the long houses, so he can't really rotate back quickly to help. So if they can get that one kill towards the car, even just a 1-for-1 trade, it gives them a good bit of time to get that bomb down. And they do also have a molly and a couple flashes on top of that initial smoke that's thrown down towards the CT spawn.
Mantu's in danger. Rain is up close already. Swings out on the flash. Beautifully done by Nico. And the turnaround. Rain with a second. Alexi B faded through the smoke and got the first shot off, but not connecting it. Issa somehow through the smoke eliminates him eventually. And that's a very valuable kill for OG. Now into a 3v3 on the retake. Coming through short, though, a lot of danger awaits MBK. 2 players here, and they swing up and swing him out of the game. A 2v3 now. OG edging up through long. They're going to move together. Issa's got the kit. He's managed to recover that from down in CT. But coldzera is very cold in those kills he's taking. As Valda falls, the round finishes in FaZe, almost securing themselves the map win as it is. I mean, 13-3. This would need to be an insanely large comeback. And whilst it is OG's map pick, on Dust2, we never give a team a huge advantage of taking it across the line, really. It's a risky one to pick, and OG are definitely seeing the negative side of that.
Oh yeah, and as you said, you don't really expect Nuke to fare much better for them off the back of this performance. It is again the force buy from OG, but obviously not really on the level of the force buy that they were able to pull out back on that previous half. On the T side, they had some rifles even. Right now, just limited to the pistols. Very little utility as well, with just 1 smoke and the 1 HE towards the towards that player around mid, which is Alexi B. I like that they have the short stack, though. It does seem like this is where FaZe are going to move towards as well, so they definitely have a chance to try and steal away a few weapons, and with that, a few kills as well. Not bad by Mantu. Actually drops the bomb. They can't really stick around to hold it, and they do realize that, so they're kind of willing at this point to just go ahead and concede and be happy with the 2-for-1 trade that they've been able to find. They're in a pretty decent spot now, considering how it started. Unfortunately, obviously, the weapon's not being retrievable.
It's a major downside for them at the moment. But still, the man advantage on these kind of pistol rounds, they've stacked up towards B. 2 players there, 1 in mid, so Issa is in a lot of danger as they start to move up through short and long. Valda might get a good flank in on them, though. He's tucked in at the doors. And as the utility is being thrown here by Nico, who had a spare smoke below him, this might actually cause a couple of problems. With the 2 smokes, it gives away that 2 of them are in middle as they are. Valda's waiting, though. These smokes have made him believe they're going to push through doors and he'll catch them off guard, but instead, it's a hit towards the bomb site. The B player is pushing. Short's going to be compromised in just a couple of seconds. The CT's coming up behind. FaZe have to rush into the site very quickly. They have no idea. The pistol's up behind, taking 1 kill at least. Nico on the bomb site, he rushed in, but he couldn't find Issa. And as he goes down, coldzera's now in a 1v3. AK's picked up, but dropped just as quickly. As Issa falls and a molly goes down, there's 14 seconds. coldzera needs to make a move, sees Alexi B swinging out wide, but this should be it. Tucked in the corner, Alexi B is safe. And the bomb irretrievable, no time left. coldzera. Okay, he finds 1 kill at least, but MBK is bailing. He knows that they've already won this round.
Yeah, there was like 7 seconds left there, so NBK realized, yeah, obviously I just fall away at this point. At best, he pushes down and kills the player that was in towards Gandalf. Even then, he didn't attempt that at that point. Instead, just the peak came in with like 1 second left. You seen the player that was stuck towards NBK, or towards Gandalf, just trying to get that kill after time. But yeah, I mean, OG, they've stolen away the force buy for themselves. It puts them in a pretty decent spot now where they can try and start building up a few rounds. A reminder, though, that was the first round that they had picked up for themselves after, what was it, 12 in a row from FaZe. So yeah, it was a pretty dominant game throughout this so far. So OG, we need to see them picking up these anti-ecos, and most importantly, picking up that next gun round as well. Obviously, this one is going to be a force buy, though. Only got 1,400 loss bonus on the side of FaZe, so they don't really have too many options. Buying what they can. Keeping money onto a couple of the players, though. I don't mind that. Doesn't seem like they're going to get armor. Instead, some pistols, at least with the deagles, and then also a few smokes. 4 smokes, because coldzera has one too.
FaZe going in for a bit of an OG strat. Coming into round number 3, a heavy stack in towards the B bomb side as they look to push through. Let's see OG setup. They've got MBK there with a Galil in hand and Issa as well on the M4. Utility is very low, though. At least MBK's got the molly, but at the point that he takes contact, I don't know that he safely gets the molly out in time to stop them pushing forward. Won't be seeing that tested, though. As you can see, FaZe Clan start to move in towards middle. With olofmeister left to watch for the B tunnels push, this is likely going to be a B split. Alexi B is in position at the moment as well. He should be smoked off in just a second. Maybe. They have 2 smokes there. Yeah, I think Nico's going to throw it. Alexi B gives away his position. Now they swing on him as he gets another piece of utility in his hand, and he falls. Now smoke down on cross, and they're going to go up. MBK and Issa holding down are in a lot of trouble, or so they think. But FaZe, they start to switch up the play. Valda on a push on top mid might catch them off guard. coldzera's watching it, but the timing is good, and Valda's got a bit of a flank. If he reads this to be a short play, which, as the B players spot out no one's here, he should do.
Yeah, almost getting caught by Olof. Olof started running, though, obviously not really being aware of the fact that there was going to be a player coming up through short, so he ends up kind of having to shy away at this point. Puts him in a bit of an awkward spot where he's left rotating around through the entire map to be able to try and help out. But his teammates have gotten the bomb plant in the meantime. They've been able to trade this out pretty successfully as well. The issue is now the bomb site itself beginning to fall towards the control of OG. coldzera had a chance, actually. Got himself the second there before going down, but at this point, yeah, there's not really a lot that Olaf can do. One, I guess, positive being is that there's no kit right now, so it is a full 10-second defuse that's needed, but Mantu hits that one bullet, and there it is. OG are able to get themselves their 5th round, but that is too close for their liking, I would say. Bomb goes down, so the money for FaZe isn't the worst. It's not really enough for a full buy, though, onto 4 of the players, so I'd imagine, again, we will just see a few pistols being bought up. But considering it was a relatively close round, if they just get their pistols here, if they're able to, again, get 2 or 3 kills, I think they're going to be pretty happy with the damage that they're keeping on towards the economy of OG.
Yeah, but OG finding their footing. I mean, this is certainly a positive turn to the story of what we've seen so far. FaZe coming in with pistols again. It should be 6. Hopefully, we'll see OG building up their economy that little bit. Like you said, they are getting a couple of kills in there, and for FaZe, that's a positive. But I'm trying to look towards OG because they picked this map. I want to see them put up a good performance because, like I said, taking styles out of it and how I would predict a general match between these 2 teams to go, OG are decent at nuke. Yeah, okay, what is it? Less than a 15% win rate or something like that. But literally, in the last 3 months, they haven't been stomped out. There's been no match that scares me and makes me think they're noobs and they've no idea how to play noob. Most games have been 16-14 losses against teams that know how to play it pretty well. So I'm not terribly worried about them in that sense, but with a poor performance on Dust2, the chance of turning it around for a reverse sweep is very low. They need to avoid losing players here to build up money. They're doing so successfully. Broke, he didn't want to commit towards that fight, and sadly, that means that they won't be getting a kill on long. With olofmeister having to do it all with a deagle in hand. No bomb either, as that was sent with the 4 players up through long. Now dropped in the doors, and the CTs are on the rotate through to pick it up and lock it down. They don't even need to, though, because Olaf is shut down. And 6 for OG, not losing a single player. That's a tick. And mission objective complete. Now they've got some money in the bank. That's what we wanted to see at the end of the day.
Yeah, but as I mentioned, we do really need to see them pick up this opening gun round. If they drop it, then I'm sure they have a bit of money. They only get 1,400, though, so even then on towards NBK and even Mantu, then they'd be a little bit too low, and Valda as well to get great buys, they'd be quite limited. So yeah, this round is a necessity. They can't afford to give over a 14th already to FaZe. At that point, they'd need a flawless CT side. Wouldn't be able to drop another round at that point, or else they'd be fighting for just an overtime. So it's a very important round right now. Early on, though, FaZe looking like they do want to try and pressure around mid. They had 1 player straight down towards the doors, being Nico, trying to keep anyone from really being able to peek it. Now they have a 2nd player around here, and the rest of them just being focused in towards tunnels initially. I think at this point, realizing that they can't really follow up with an immediate B rush, so they are sending coldzera back through the spawn to, I guess at this point, probably just watch for any long aggression, which is looking like it may happen from Valda. He's definitely tempted. For the moment, though, just up close to the doors.
In fact, it's coldzera that starts to edge forward, watching for the gap in long doors and then camping outside of it, maybe even moving on through, at which point Valda's patience would really pay off. He's been sat here for quite a while now, and Cold, yes indeed, looks to go through long. And when you see Cold go to doors, you know it's going to be a take on the A-bomb site. As 4 players line up, they can pop their smokes out and get very much a similar take to what OG did earlier on. Dust is always a map of reduce, reuse, recycle. But without the reduce, I guess. Starting to push forward, flashes over. Decent spray as Brokey's taken down. Alexi B, though, he's shut down right afterwards and losing the bomb site if Issa falls. He hasn't been spotted in the back just yet, but then, as I say that, Olaf swings out wide. Ferrari peeks him and takes him down. And a 2v4, the nade not landing enough damage to Olaf, and the bomb uncontestedly going down. MBK tries to push through, doesn't see Rain close, and that round is pretty much tied up as it is. Even the flank now coming through from coldzera to make sure no save is possible. Hey, Mansu, nice up. Oh, nice creek spray, mate. Cold's missing that one a little bit. Luckily, his buddy's coming to help him in CT. They could lose some weapons for that whiff, though. No, they don't, at least. No punishment.
Mantu just wasn't having a good time there. At first I thought he was probably going to get Rain as he just peeked in through the door, but Rain just waited instead because they knew they had him pinned in the corner, so he couldn't really go anywhere. When he tried to, got tagged up by both of them. But yeah, 14-6, I mean, OG dropped that round. As I said, it's not really one that they could afford to lose. They're able to just about scrape out a decent investment, but you can see it's really just the bare basics at this point. A few nades being found onto most of the players. NBK is actually forced down to an MP9. They do at least have the op on towards Mantu, but if they lose this round, they're going to be on probably just pistols and Kevlar in the next one. They only get 1900, so this round is do or die at this point for OG. On what we said is a very important map for them here in this best of 3, but there it is. Valda actually finds 2 players coming out through that long smoke. Finds them a very important advantage early on in this round.
OG need it more than ever with where their economy's at, and as we move forward, FaZe, they've got a smoke. It's going down on CT, and that opens up the possibility to split in towards the B bomb site. They decide against that. Brokey's going to hold for any rotates to come through in a little bit as coldzera watches short. I like FaZe's approach with 1 minute and 5 seconds. They're not under pressure to make a play, and they know OG are going to react. Brokey's about to get a peek through on that AWP. He spots them, but not able to land the shot. And now he's in trouble with the player up close, starting to back out and leaving coldzera to push on through. But there's a player to his right that he doesn't see, and as Alexi B takes that frag, it's a 2 versus 5. Not the easiest of rounds to win, and with Brokey alone on the op, it's quite unlikely. 45 seconds as he moves forward. Not quick enough to get into the B bomb site before the rotates are through. And so now there's 2 players awaiting him.
Yeah, no, he's screwed already with the 2 players on the bomb site with the quick flank as well. That could come in through the spawn. I don't think Valda's actually going to go for it. I think he's just chilling around suicide instead. So yeah, he'll know at least if anyone tries to come back through the spawn. Obviously then a player pushed up on short who should get info if anyone goes there. Alexi B has the mid hold, so really there's not a lot here that Brokey can do where he's going to be able to get an easy fight. If he does go towards short, obviously he has a chance for a 1v1 against Mantu, but first he has to deal with the player that's up towards the top of mid, so he is just trying to save. It really was the only option with how low the time was also. Fortunately, I don't think he'll get hunted. As I said, I do see 1 player's up close on the tunnels. They do have a decent amount of money on the CT side, but I don't think it's really worthwhile. Ideally, they just want to keep everything they have here. They'll have to drop over NBK, so after doing so, they really won't have all that much money spare. But FaZe Clan, they'll be able to come straight back onto it by themselves. As you can see, it's only really Rain that's lacking. He's put down to a deagle, so that's not ideal, but it's really not that terrible, considering they have a good amount of nades as well to back up, obviously, the op that was also saved over alongside those 3 rifles.
OG's real problem is losing this round puts them down to no cash, and with the fact that FaZe have got a convincing enough buyout, what is it, like 5 buy rounds between OG and a win? Oh no, even more. I mean, because it's a little bit unpredictable with FaZe getting the bomb plants and obviously the cheaper weapons as well. Yeah, it's very hard to even see that. So there's probably way more than 5 to come through. There's a really hard road ahead of them. The run boost coming around to dodge any AWP that might be on short. Nothing found. So they should have a read at this point. It's well, they do pretty much. It's either going to be side or car that's being played with it. You can see Mantu is holding down at the car. Very Z-Power style angle. Or style setup from OG. Mantu rotating out to help long, at least for a second it looked like it. There's no information at the moment for OG, and as they lose Issa, they've got to be very worried about the B bomb site. FaZe have spotted that he was rotating as well, and they know anyways that he's one of the dedicated B players. And if you know MBK is the last one alive, considering his performance hasn't been insanely good so far in this map, you're probably going to be pushing in towards B. OG wanted to make a rotate happen, but there's lots of utility going down in mid, and they decide to back off just in case. But FaZe making the right decision at the end of the day. Smoke down on the cross. They're going to be splitting into B, and if MBK gets more than one, I don't care who it is holding this site, FaZe are going to push in together through the window, through the doors, and through tunnels. He's going to be shot in the back, and there you go. He gets one and dies. That's the way it should have went down, and for FaZe, it's about as clean as can be. OG need to think about saving. Time is low, but Brokey will get that bomb planted, and with the money they've got, these weapons would be invaluable.
It was getting cut a little bit too close there for my liking. As it hit 4, I wasn't sure how quickly he was going to start actually putting that down. But yeah, they do get it in the end. You could see maybe OG were hoping like, okay guys, are they maybe not going to be able to plant that? Because they were already decided on saving at that point. Okay. Valda just chilling on the spawn, does find coldzera trying to run past them, ends up getting the kill on Brokey as well. That's the op now that's gone down. And really, FaZe don't have much money. They cannot afford to take this damage. This is actually going to impact their buy now in this upcoming round. And the question is now, do they even try and exit back through the tunnels to retrieve the op, or do they just take it out mid, where in theory there could be someone holding as well? Yeah, I think they're just going to go into the corner here at the car, trying to just stay alive at this point. The op, unfortunately, as I said, not going to be recovered with that. So, yeah, I mean, a bit of damage at least being done, but the issue is it still needs to be 8 rounds in a row for OG now to actually bring this into an overtime. FaZe did still win the round, obviously, so it's not going to stop them from having a bye here. It just limits them a little bit more in comparison to what we were really expecting, considering they won the round. Even then, I don't think they'll be lacking any rifles. Does Brokey have a weapon on the ground, or is he just going to have to buy one up himself? Yeah, he goes for it himself. So, yeah, he doesn't really have nades, but other than that, it's really not too damaged. That's really the main weakness, the fact that Brokey is only just limited to the 1 smoke. And even then, OG themselves being stuck with a FAMAS and an MP9.
Where do you go from here, Dean? I mean, for OG, with this being their map pick, Nuke up next, like I said, they can feel okay about their chances on Nuke. If you're on their TS, their Discord, they're going to be discussing it as, you know, we're not bad at Nuke. We can definitely make it happen. And whilst the possibilities are there with this kind of performance, when FaZe are showing up with this tight-knit, and Nico being one of the lower fraggers in this map, I mean, we know he turns up on Nuke. It's worrying for me. Issus managed to find one here. Good rotate early by Alexi B coming down to catch them off, but he's not able to find more, and B falls. I don't know if they'll have a read on MBK's position, though, although he's generally one of the players anchoring. B, he's able to do so much damage with the SMG. Valda can actually get in here now. 1v2, low HP on Rain. Brokey's not too healthy either. Valda's nade thrown out a little bit premature. It's not going to land the damage it could have had it have made its way into the back corner. Could have been rained down, and a whole holistically different round coming through. Valda spotted a player on his left. He suspects back as well, but not hitting either of the shots. That's 16-17. A hell of a convincing map for FaZe, considering it's their opponent.